Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Aries August 2023 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So, hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lauren. This is a look at the energy for the month ahead for the sign of Aries. Now, this can be for your sun, moon, or rising. It can also be if you have Aries prominent in your chart. I like to say you can look at Venus or Jupiter, but specifically Venus or Mercury, because Mercury is really how we communicate with the world. So if you've never looked at your Mercury sign placement readings, I would say look into those because you might be surprised at what comes through there. Now, as we dive into the reading, I'm going to be taking a look at what you're bringing to the month, Aries. We're going to be looking also at what is going on externally to you and a theme that Spirit would like you to focus on to really help you embrace that theme by the end of the month to help you overcome and find meaning in a block or challenge that you're facing and really allow in a level of abundance or spiritual growth that's waiting to come in for you this month. So let's jump right in here, Aries. What are you bringing to the month? Let's start with that here. What is Aries bringing to the month of August? Ooh, that's quite a few cards there. I like to try to get just one or two. I did see the 10 of Wands. So for some of you, now we have the Page of Wands coming out here for you guys. 10 of Wands kind of creeping in there. I can say for some of you, there may be a sense of this month really putting down a burden and starting fresh. I love the Page of Wands coming in here. There's a sense of this kind of childlike wonder and awe, a reconnection to the playful side to your experience, which is beautiful. Well, let's see what's going on around you. Let's see what Spirit's really asking you to embrace. Ooh, we got the Knight of Pentacles and the Fool. Very interesting because those are very opposing. You can even see here the way these two cards are facing each other. They bring in almost a similar feel, both with the yellow in the background, but they are very different. The Knight of Pentacles is someone who has the plan. They're willing to kind of go slow and steady, and there can be a sense of a perfectionist quality to the Knight of Pentacles because that is Virgo. That's the card of Virgo, and Virgo is all about the details. It's all about getting things right. And the Fool is quite the opposite. The Fool is the individual who says, you know what, I'm just going to take the leap, screw the plan. I'm not going to analyze anything. I'm just going to literally take that step with full faith off of this ledge, knowing that Spirit is there to catch me as I enter the new. So what's interesting here is that for many of you, with the underlying energy of the Seven of Cups coming in over here, there's a sense of really embracing opportunity, embracing what you don't know is kind of waiting for you out there in your experience. The Seven of Cups can be a card of illusion. It can be where we're just kind of enamored by all the things that could be out there. And sometimes that can prevent us from actually choosing something because we're sitting here saying, well, what if I choose incorrectly? What if I choose this cup and it's actually the cup next to it that's going to be more emotionally fulfilling or more better suited to my needs or the dream that I want to bring into my experience? But it can also be a sense of stepping into the reality that life holds so many options all the time for us, that it's not just one way that we have to go, that sometimes there may be other things that kind of come in out of left field or other, if we choose to kind of go in a new path or we change the course a little bit, change the plan with Knight of Pentacles, that suddenly we open ourselves up to a whole nother level of opportunity. And there's a sense here of getting ready for that for many of you. The Page of Wands, again, this is a reconnection to your passion. But it's on a very kind of innocent and I'd say almost naive level. It's like for those of you who are, let's say, more experienced or are kind of, midlife or later, this could be where you are kind of going back to the drawing board and saying, let me just play around with this part of myself again. This could also be where you're entering into a new phase of life where you might be trying something that you're not an expert at. If you're in kind of the earlier period of your life experience, this could could be where you're stepping into a level of discovering a passion or discovering something within yourself, a way of taking action perhaps that feels like play, that gets that curiosity kind of piqued within you, where you're like, wow, this is kind of fun. I like doing this, or I'm finding I'm actually pretty good at this. But there's an unpolished quality to the Page of Wands. This is the individual who is curious. They are open-minded to what this passion or how taking action in this way, what it will actually manifest as or bring into their life. It's more about just the sense of this feels good, this is fun, I want more of this, and I'm curious to see what else I can do with this. Now, with the Knight of Pentacles and the Fool, there's a sense here of facing an opposition within yourself, facing that need with the Knight of Pentacles to control, to have the plan, to see the step by step. But with the Fool, there's the other side to that coin, which is sometimes we have to let the chips fall where they may. And when we're kind of going out into the new, especially with this curious childlike feeling, we also have to understand that there's a level of faith and a level of newness that we can't build a plan around. And that can be very unnerving to the majority of us, actually, especially for someone who's very used to planning, very used to being able to execute steps and get to a goal or achieve a specific result. There's a feeling here of there may not be a specific result, because for many of you, you have the Ten of Cups with the Three of Swords and then the Two of Pentacles. There's a sense here of kind of coming through some heartache, perhaps. There's a feeling of being faced or confronted with the Ten of Cups, which is kind of like, again, touching our vision of heaven on earth through the emotional plane, really getting a chance to feel what that feels like, to feel what the happy family card is. And for some of you, you've tried to go after that in your life, and it ended up in heartache. That's what the Three of Swords speaks to. These are the ghosts of the past that come forward where something has failed. And with the Ten of Cups behind that, that's a big fail. It doesn't mean that that's bad or that you are a failure. It means that you tried to go for something and it didn't wind up in the way that you were hoping. It didn't give you the feeling you were hoping for. Now, most likely that involved another individual. And again, when we're looking at the things that are out of our control, that would be the other person. Now, with the Two of Pentacles coming in, I think for many of you, you've been juggling this heartache for a while. You've been juggling where something hasn't been feeling right, or you've been juggling, you might have even just kind of focused on the day-to-day tasks simply so that you really didn't have to feel the pain of what this was. And with the Seven of Cups coming in, it's saying it's time to kind of pick your head up from the balancing, from the juggling act, and to say, there's a whole world of opportunity waiting for you out there right now. And you're ready for it. You are ready with this kind of internal fire, this internal sense of, let's go out and play. But you're kind of facing a duality, I think, in yourself of, but I need a plan, but I'm also being asked to jump off the ledge. And it's almost like these two individuals have to merge into one. And it sounds strange to say it like that, right? Like, how can I have a plan if I don't know what I'm jumping into? And it's saying, you've been juggling something for some time, which probably means that you're a master prioritizer in some aspect of your life. You've learned how to master, maybe juggling your home life with your work life, or you've mastered being able to prioritize all the stuff in your work life or all the stuff in your home life. But there's something here that says, now there's a fresh start coming in. Whether this is in your home life, whether this is in your career life, or whether this is actually melding the two. But there's a sense here of you're being asked to step into the new as a new version of yourself. There's a sense of leaving the old baggage behind when the Fool comes in, right? He's not carrying all his luggage. There's no U-Haul behind him. He just has his stick with a couple little maybe keepsakes here in his little knapsack. And he's ready to, with full faith, just take that leap off into the new. But there's also the sense of taking with you what you learned from the past experience, from the past cycle you've gone through, which is understanding how to execute a step-by-step plan, which is understanding that, yes, it's nice to have that long-term goal, but there's also that feeling of you probably, especially with the Three of Swords coming in, you understand that sometimes the results aren't always what we're expecting. But it doesn't mean that we cut ourselves off from opportunity or from continuing to go out there to try a new cup. So I get the feeling this month, Aries, this is all about opening yourself up to opportunities perhaps you felt were closed to you, or you felt that you didn't want to pursue because of the pain of the past. But there's a sense here of a healthy sense of understanding of what you're good at and executing a plan mixed with the faith of leaping into the new and with a sense of play. With this time, I'm going to enjoy the journey. That's really, I think, the lesson for many of you here. Now, we're going to look at the challenge or the block. We're going to look at advice from Spirit, and then we're going to dive into the level of abundance or the gift that wants to come in for you, Aries. So we have Ace of Wands, which makes sense with the Page of Wands. Now, this is your main block. The Ace of Wands is a beautiful energy. It is one of inspiration. It's one of connecting back to your eternal flame. It can be that aha moment of, oh my gosh, this is what I love to do, or this is that great idea for the business, or this person lights my flame. It can also be for some of you where there's a pregnancy that comes in, that can also be the Ace of Wands sometimes. And it might be like, ooh, I'm excited about this. But for most of you, since it's the general reading, this is about just that spark has been lit again, whether it's been lit by another individual, whether it's been lit by a circumstance around you. And you're ready with the Page of Wands to take this out into the world, to play with it, to see what you can do with it. And yet I think for many of you, there's this sense of, but it's all coming back to that heartache. It's all coming back to this, but if I go out there again, especially if I go out there with this playful sense of kind of naivete, I might be seen as silly. The plan might fall to ruin. I might get hurt again. And we'll see what wants to come out here. But Spirit is asking you to embrace that. Embrace the inspiration. Embrace feeling that fire. I mean, Aries, you are the cardinal air sign. You are meant to feel the fire. You're meant to lead from what you're passionate about. Now, on the other side of the Ace of Wands, we have the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is that long-term vision. It's looking at what you want to build with others. It's an element of collaboration here, whether this is with just an individual. Let's say this is a new love life or a new love partner that has sparked your flame, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can see myself building a future with this person. But that might feel scary if in the past you were hurt. This could be like all of a sudden you have a spark of inspiration. Maybe you started a new job and you're like, oh my God, I love this. This is amazing. I want to know more. I haven't felt this jazzed about working in a long time, and I see where this can go. I can grow with this company. And yet something in the past is where maybe you failed. Maybe you failed at a business endeavor. Maybe you got even let go from a place that you loved, and you're like, well, I don't want to commit too much. I don't want to love this job too much because it might not work out. Now, with the Six of Wands at the heart of your reading, you're really being asked to, that's a little too many. You're really being asked to embrace success, recognition for a job well done. You're being asked to step into the spotlight. Now, the Six of Wands is the energy of Leo. We are in Leo season right now, where we're all being asked to really step into the spotlight, but from a place of kind of a heart-led, not of I want to step in front of you to be in the spotlight, but more to step into the spotlight from, this is what I love. Everybody, please see it for what it is because I love it. And there's a sense here of, I think for many of you, either almost not wanting to be seen because there could be this attention brought to you that might, again, kind of pull up a level of where you failed in the past and it's almost like it's scary. Or there's a sense here for many of you where it's time for you to show the world what you've built from a place of passion. This would be like you've been working on building a home, you've been working on building maybe even a business. And it's time to show the world. It's time to say, this is what I've been working on. This is what I've been juggling. This is what I've been keeping my head down doing. And yet there's a sense with the Five of Pentacles on the other side of loss, of rejection, of if I come out and show everybody, if I show them, this is almost like showing somebody your child, right? Let's use this as a metaphor. The Ace of Wands is your baby. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just gave birth to this beautiful baby. And Page of Wands is like, oh my gosh, I'm not quite sure how to be a great parent yet, but this is wonderful. And I want to show everybody the wonder and miracle of this child. I want to show them what I'm hoping to, what the future of our family is going to be. And yet you're worried that if you show everybody your child, they're going to sit there and say, oh, well, that's just one of 8 billion people on this earth, and your child, what makes your child so special? There's a sense coming in here, Aries, around that, and it's saying, it doesn't matter what other people think. This is your success. This is your inspiration. This is what lights your fire. This is what you're passionate about. And yes, if it's part of your vision for the future, then absolutely show yourself for who you are. This could also be for some of you where you get a chance to really explain to people that even though something may have ended in heartache or didn't end the way that you were hoping, this is a great way to say, but look at what I learned in that, and I'm going to show you the inspiration that came from that. This would be like a failed business. You went to open your own business and it didn't quite make it, but yet you learned something from that. Maybe there was a new inspiration from that. You realize, I thought I wanted to do this. I thought I was going to build a clothing business, but I realized in working with, let's say, social media, that actually I would love to be a social media director for somebody. I don't actually want the clothing business. I enjoy doing that aspect of it more than anything, and I can really see myself building something along those lines. And then now it's time to be seen for that, to say, hey, everybody, I'm really great at social media and networking. Who would like to know how they can get in touch with me and how I can go ahead and really show what I'm passionate about, what I'm good about. And then there's this fear on the other side of, if I do that, though, people might reject me. People might take a look at what I'm offering. People might take a look at my passion or my child and say, no, that's good on you. Keep doing that on your own. But on the other side of that, if you can face that fear of being seen and face that maybe, this is just an internal fear of yours, the Five of Pentacles, where people will turn their back on you, where you have lost in the past. There's the Knight of Cups that comes in on the other side of this, and that is the wish for the 10th cup. There's a sense here of you have a lot to be grateful for, and no, it is not the 10 of Cups that did not manifest or that manifested in a way that wounded you before, but you get to make that wish again. And that's the gift that wants to come in for you, is that 10th cup. But that 10th cup can't come in if you don't show yourself in what you've been building, in what you're passionate about. This is like showing our eternal soul, to our individuality out there into the world. And there's an embracing, again, melding the two sides to your personality to say, this is a fresh start with the Fool coming in, a fresh start with opportunity for that. It's almost like saying that 10th cup could be anywhere. And there could be many ways to get to that 10th cup. And those opportunities are waiting for you out there. But you have to be willing to take the leap. But understand and have the faith that you can always fall back on your skill set of holding true to a vision, holding true to the plan. But the plan also has to be flexible. And this also says that there may be a new way to enact an old plan. And that's the Fool and the Knight of Pentacles together. There may be a new way to bring about an old plan. Bottom of the deck, we have the Two of Swords. Yes, many of you have been sitting at a place of indecision. The Two of Swords speaks to holding two swords that are of equal weight and length, and with our naked eye, they look exactly the same. So how do we choose which one is actually more in alignment with our truth, or which one is more authentic to us? And it says you can't. This is what calls you then to close your eyes and go within to feel which decision is more in alignment with you. And you'll know that by which decision will lead you back to what sparked your passion, will lead you back to what your heart yearns for. And that's where that decision to leap or not to leap comes in. To show yourself or not to show yourself. You know, there is a sense here of really wanting to either build a business and you want to go out there and show people this, or it can be a sense of building a home, building a skill set, but something around it's time to release it. Maybe you've even been working on a book or a creative project and it's saying it's time to show it for what it is. It's time to make that decision and to understand that what comes in will be a part of the journey to get to the 10th cup again. Oh, actually, and you know what's interesting? I was just going to say one of the cards, look at this. One of the cards was left over here. I didn't even realize when I was shuffling. And look what it is. It's the Ace of Wands. I'm going to leave that right here before I start to pull clarifiers. Wild. So yeah, this is all about that fresh connection. This is a new start, a fresh connection to the self. And again, this could be around children. Maybe you have 2 children. And maybe you had 2 children and you built something around that. And it's time to show the world what you've done with that. Maybe these are 2 creative projects, but I get a feeling more than anything, this is just double confirmation that you have, there has been kind of a jump start in your life again. There's been an inspiration. There's been something that's gotten you kind of back on your feet and you've caught fire again. And there is a vision for something, or you've already built something around that. You're already starting to collaborate with others, or you want to collaborate with others, but it's time to show that. It's time to gain recognition. It's time to gain, for people to gain awareness of where you've chosen to take action. And it's going to, I think, help bring in the opportunity that you're seeking here to get to that 10th cup. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to pull some clarifiers now for the cards on the table. I'll pull some additional oracle cards as well, so that we'll even get a little deeper into the reading. So for the Ace of Wands, we have 5 of Cups. Yeah, this is disappointment, more pain from the past, where something didn't work out. Where either a friend group or, this is actually being held back by the pain of the past. 5 of Cups is where we were disappointed. We either were emotionally disappointed because, again, a friend group, a family group, a kind of soul tribe we were part of, something didn't work out. A romantic interest didn't work out. The business or the career path we emotionally invested in didn't work out. And there's something here around the devil coming in that you've been tied to that for quite some time, tied to that disappointment, tied to continually looking at that pain of the past, the 5 of Cups and the 3 of Swords. That's a lot of pain. It's a lot of sadness. It can even be regret. And I get that feeling that for many of you, that's what you've held yourself back to. You chained yourself to that regret. And yet here's all this fire coming in. Like, here's the new person who wants to come in and love you. Here's the whatever, this could even be where for some of you, maybe you were having a problem conceiving. That can be something that could be tied to this. Now, this is obviously a very general reading, but that could be a specific message for someone where you had difficulty conceiving. And now you have a chance to do it again, or you've already gone through that. And it's like, okay, it's time now to look at the gifts you were given versus continually reviewing what didn't work out in the past, or holding yourself accountable as well. There's a sense here of almost holding yourself to blame or that if you walk away from what happened in the past and you embrace the joy that wants to come in now, that somehow you're either not, there's a sense here of, like, again, holding yourself accountable to having to stay vigilant to the pain of the past. And so saying, the Fool's coming in here. It's a fresh start. You don't have to hold yourself accountable to what didn't work out in the past. There is so much joy and inspiration that's coming through now. It's time to fully turn and face that. Release the chains of the devil. Okay, so we have the Three of Pentacles. You have the Nine of Coins. It's the Nine of Pentacles. And we have the King of Swords. I love that. King of Swords. Aquarian energy, but it's also the energy of standing firm in the knowledge that you have mastered something and you have wisdom in some area of your life. Nine of Pentacles says you've also mastered having quite a bit in the physical plane to enjoy. And there's a level of independence and financial or physical success that comes in here. And this says you've done it. Understand that. Know it. And understand, have confidence in your knowledge of how you have created a level of financial or physical independence for yourself. Have you built that house? Did you build that business? Did you save all that money in the bank? And this says yes, and you know how to do that. You have expertise there. Okay, let's see about the Six of Wands. There's something about giving yourself credit, Aries. I think for some of you, you really haven't given yourself credit for what you've created, for the hardship that you went through on an emotional level, but also what you learned from that and what you still came out with on a level of abundance. I think that many of you have not been able to just stop and say, kudos to myself. Now for the Six of Wands, we have Ace of Cups, and there's the Three of Swords again, the pain. Ace of Cups is a renewal in love. It's a renewal with your spiritual connection to the self as well. There's a sense here of that wanting to come in for you, wanting to connect to your spiritual self, being cleansed by love, and having, again, that fresh start, be it in connection with others or just in your emotional connection to your life experience. And yet here's that pain coming in again. The pain is coming back. It's almost covering the fact that there's this beautiful energy of love and connection and support waiting for you. And for some of you, this might be as simple as standing firm in your success at having mastered moving through this pain and finally getting to this place where you can love again, or where you can emotionally connect to an aspect of your life that you held yourself back from doing so because of the emotional disappointment. So this is saying there is success in your connection now. Okay, so for the Five of Pentacles, we have the Two of Coins. Yeah, for many of you, and then we also have the Five of Swords and the Fountain. Yeah, many of you are fighting the inspiration. You're fighting the fresh start. I think because with the Two of Pentacles coming in, this has been a coping mechanism for some time. Let me just put my head down, get my job done, and I'm just going to keep doing that until the pain subsides. It can also be where there's some wounding around, I've been working so hard, I've been juggling so much, the more effort I put into juggling, the less I seem to have. And in reality, it's not the less you've seemed to have, it's because perhaps you've been prioritizing. It's realizing that I think for many of you, it's not about juggling anymore. It's about prioritizing. It's about showing the skill set you have, or showing the one thing you've been working on, that Ace of Pentacles that you have turned into something more. And instead of just juggling that ace with another ace or with other things in your life, it's saying, I'm going to start to really prioritize the one thing. And with the Five of Swords and the Fountain, the Five of Swords that can be combative energy. That can be where we want to win at all costs. It can be also where we want to stick our fingers in our ears and say, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to hear your point of view. No, 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 no. I'm not going to change. This is me. I'm right. That is that kind of energy. And yet here comes the Fountain. And the Fountain is specific to this deck. It's called the Fountain deck, or the Fountain Tarot. And the Fountain speaks to that place where it is the Fool. It is the 0 point field that comes in with the Fool, of where everything and nothing exists. It's that level of kind of going into the universal knowledge and saying, you can have that fresh start. You can go through that wormhole. You can choose to come out with a new experience, but you're fighting it. You're fighting it because of what you lost in the past. You're fighting it because you feel like you've done so much and yet you still have so little. And this is saying, I think you don't realize how much you actually have at this point. I'm going to read you. It's just interesting. I feel compelled to do it, so I'm going to do it. I don't always do this, but I'm going to read you the little excerpt for the Fountain card that comes with this deck. It says, the Fountain exists outside and beyond the cycles of birth, death, time, and form. It is the nameless, changeless source of which everything is a part. It is the waking from the dream of separateness, and identity, and the recognition of one's self as not only connected to all things, but all things, which is divine nature. When the Fountain appears in your reading, relinquish all illusion of control and remain quiet. It invites you to observe, master less, and to just be. Effortless and indistinguishable from life, you are the voice and the breath of the universe, meaning oneness, a moment of cosmic clarity, fully awake, the end of seeking, enlightened being, surrender to that which you are, whole and perfect. I love this. I love that there's a sense here coming through of a meaning behind all that you've gone through. And there's a fighting of a release around a pain or a disappointment. And I think there's a realization now of saying you're fine just the way you are. Faults and all, disappointments and all, choices made that maybe didn't lead to the right, to, in your mind, the right outcome. But in reality, all of that is part of the divinity of our experience. It's the journey. And this is saying that now you get to sit in that place, understand you are perfect as you are. Your inspiration, your passion is perfect as it is. Stop fighting it. Stop trying to dumb it down by, it's almost like watering it down and just your juggling of the day-to-day. Start prioritizing it. Start prioritizing yourself. Start prioritizing your passions. Start prioritizing love. Start prioritizing the heart's dream. Start prioritizing the search for that 10th cup again. All right, let's go ahead and see what wants to come in for the 9 of Cups. Oh, King of Wands. I like that. Some of you may have a Leo coming into your experience. And the Fool. Ooh, and some of you, there could also be, for those of you who want to start a business, the Fool and the King of Wands could literally be taking a leap to become a business owner or to level up in your career path. The King of Wands is someone who leads from his passions, and oftentimes that can look like someone who becomes a business owner, someone who is in the spotlight. It can also be, for some of you, you're taking a leap towards someone who is a Leo or someone who embodies that. So this could even be that you're collaborating with another fiery individual or another individual who maybe has already built a business for themselves. But I do like that here's that Fool energy again. It's saying take the leap. Take the leap towards that 10th cup. And that 10th cup is coming in here through recognition, through being seen. That 10th cup is coming in through the form of possibly a new romantic interest. It could be also a new interest in something that you want to build based on a business or a passion. And that's what's bringing in that renewal, that emotional connection. But there's something here around either leaping towards really leveling up. Again, King of Wands is someone who is seen, someone who is dynamic, someone who leads from what fires them up. And it's time to either jump into that energy yourself, Aries. I mean, hello, you are the cardinal fire sign. Or it's time to, this could be literally saying it's time to take a hobby that maybe you started when you were in your darkest time. This could literally be like, you started, crocheting on the side to get you through a really difficult time, and it turned into something where now you have like a little following on YouTube of people watching your crocheting videos, and you have a whole room dedicated to your crocheting of all of these little things. And it's like, actually, it's not just this little hobby anymore. Like, this got me through the pain of the past, but it's also what I love. It's what sparked the flame within to keep it burning through the darkest time. So there may be something there. It could be a hobby that came through. It could be the family that kept you going. It could be you decorating your home and realizing, wow, I have a skill set in this and I'm great at it. Whatever it is, there's something here where you could be literally leveling up and jumping into your own business. Maybe that is the final 10th cup. This could also be where you maybe are leaping into, again, a relationship with someone who embodies that. Someone who is courageous, who is fiery, who lives from a place of passion, and they're equal to you in that. So keep that in mind, however that comes through for you guys. Now we have, of course, the Nine of Swords as your third underlying energy. This is worry. These are the thoughts that keep us up at night, especially around the Two of Swords, where it's like, what decision do I make? And what if I make the wrong decision? But what you're being asked to do is to release the pain of the past as part of that decision-making process. Because it's never good, in my opinion, my perspective, to make our major life decisions based on what we're trying to avoid. Meaning, if this is choosing between like entering full-heartedly into a new relationship when you were wounded, terribly in a past relationship, it's not saying I'm going to choose to not get into a new, loving, wonderful relationship simply to avoid the potential for the pain of the past. Instead, it's saying, make the choice based on what you want. Make the choice on what your heart yearns for. And if your heart yearns for that loving, supportive relationship, well, then that's the decision. To move towards that, to do what will bring you closer to that person coming in for you, not further away. Same thing with this is a business. To say I'm going to keep my foot out the door of actually, letting people know that this is what I love to do, letting people know that this is my business, actually making it a business because I have failed in the past. And this is saying, no, it's time to go out there. It's time to say, this is what I've done. This is what I've created. This is what I love. And I want to bring more of this in for myself. I want to write another book after the one I've already written. I want to, do more. I want to sell my crocheting online. I want to offer my services in some way. But there's something here around that where it's saying, instead of worrying about what you're trying to avoid, embrace what you want to bring in. Okay, so now we're going to pull a energy oracle card to see what is the energy that what's the overarching energy for the month of August for you guys? What does Aries need to know about August? This is all very it's a very positive reading, Aries. It says you've come a long way. It says you have a lot to be proud of. But there's a sense here of, again, just a lot of fear of leaning into it. Like, is this too good to be true? If I show this to the world, am I going to be embarrassed again or hurt again or wounded again? And it's saying you're being asked to take the leap. You're being asked to kind of look at the cosmic divinity of yourself and say, is it really fair to the whole world and to the divine plan to withhold yourself from that? So we have deceit, number 25, breaks down to the number 7. And when this card comes up, generally for me, this really speaks to kind of the 7 of Swords energy, where there's a level of self-deception that comes through here, where we're either trying to avoid something, or we're trying to focus too much on something and convince ourselves that that is the problem, and that's why we're not going to make a decision. So you can see here, this individual is looks like he's kind of counting his coins in his hand here. And I always get the feeling when this card comes up specifically in a reading like this is where there's a level of self-deception about our own self-worth, of what we actually can bring to the table. This would be like someone who says, well, even though I love doing this, I can't actually charge for these services. I can't actually, no one's going to pay that. No one's going to buy my product. No one's going to support me in that way. And that's where the self-deception comes in. Now I'm going to go ahead but the number 7 coming in, the number 7 asks us, that is our direct connection to spirit. The number 7 is also the confidence in the understanding that each one of us is a unique individual, and that we need to participate in life as our unique individual to help round out and balance the divinity of our experience as humans. So let's see. Oh, there's the King of Wands again. Yeah, for those of you who really want to get out, either level up in a career path or level up in business, this is saying, go for it. I mean, I obviously can't tell you what to do. I don't want you to do something that's obviously going to put you and your family in financial ruin. But there's a sense here of saying the deceit is coming in from a place where you don't feel, again, worthy, where you don't feel like someone will pay for that service, that product, that passion. And it's saying you're being asked to lead. And this also could be a level of self-deception similar to the 7 of Swords, where we simply just don't want to see it, because that's a lot of responsibility as well. That can be scary, to be seen like that, to be seen for what you're passionate about, to be seen for what you're good at, and to take the lead. We see the Lion energy. Again, more Leo coming in. And there's a feeling here of really saying like, well, it's almost like you want to hide from your own fire. And unfortunately, Aries, now with the North Node, coming in. The North Node coming into your sign, South Node moving into Libra. Us as a collective are really being asked to embrace our uniqueness, our oneness, but how that oneness connects to the greater collective experience. And with the 2 of Cups coming in here, that's the divine partnership. That's authentic connection. That's either taking your product out there to the world and going one-on-one with people to shake hands and say, this is what I have to offer. Or this is literally, for some of you, if this is a relationship, this is saying it's time to lean into that relationship, to connect with that individual. Now, there's a lot of love and support that's coming through, and to fall back on that, to fall back on whoever's in your life who really embodies this individual, this fiery individual. It could be you, it could be a significant other, but to lean into that connection. And possibly even to take the lead, to show others that this is how life can be led, to have the courage to do that. And that's going to bring people to you naturally that, again, are bringing to you that 10th cup. What is that 10th cup? It's authentic connection. It's love. It's also that 10th cup could literally be you reconnecting with your personal importance, reconnecting again to your life. It's almost like plugging back into your life experience. Okay, I'm going to pull a Power of Surrender card, and then we'll pull one final card after that to close out your reading. So let's see what we have here. All right, so we have 2 cards. We have Surrender Worry, which I love, and Surrender Fear. Wow. Well, this sums up your reading right here, Aries. So we have Surrender Worry and Surrender Fear. It says, surrender worry. Make a commitment not to lead an anxiety-driven life. When worries arise, breathe them out of your body. Focus on the power of your heart and have faith the Spirit is guiding you always. There's that feeling of faith coming in here with the Fool. But yeah, this is saying don't lean into the worries. Don't lean into those thoughts that keep you up at night, especially the ones that are tied directly to the Three of Swords. It's saying it's time to release that pain. Surrender fear. It says, let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. And that is the Knight of Pentacles. Those are the baby steps forward. And for some of you, you're taking those baby steps into the new. It's like taking the baby steps off to leap off the cliff. Then that's almost more scary, right? When you're sitting there, instead of just taking that running, flying leap off the cliff, you're like planning the leap, right? You're like one step, two step, and with each little step, you're getting a little bit closer, but you have that time to kind of think about it. And that can be scary. That can be really, really scary. I can understand the fear there. But there's a sense of success coming through. There's a sense of, but this is what you're passionate about. This is when we think about what we're here to do as humans. And granted, we don't all have the luxury in our life experience to be able to fully express our own passions. But all we're asked to do is to live our uniqueness into life, no matter where we are, no matter what circumstance we find ourselves in. And to cling to that and to keep with faith and hope going from that, interacting with life from that place, that it's our uniqueness, that we have something to share with the world that is simply our passion. That's why the story of Jesus Christ, whether or not you believe in him as an actual savior or, whether or not you're religious, just the concept of Jesus Christ as an individual is that he chose to live his passion into life. And he may at certain points have doubted himself, but he still went forward and said, but this is what I have to give. This is what I feel compelled to share. This is how I want to live my life. He was truly the King of Wands, leading from a place of passion, not forcing others to like what he did, not forcing others to agree with him. It was simply to say, this is what I have to share. This is what I have to do. This is my wisdom. And I'm going to go forward and see it through to the end. And for some of you, there's a sense of just having to really embrace that about yourself, that there's something about yourself that is meant to be shared. There's something about yourself that is truly unique. And to love that part of yourself. And to love that part of yourself to the point where that fear that comes in around taking that leap into the new overrides the fear of having to go through the pain of the past. That instead you say, you know what? When I'm on the path of living my experience, the right things will come to me. I will experience my heaven on earth, but I have to go forward to meet that cup. I have to go on the journey to find that in the Seven of Cups. And I'm ready to do that now. I'm ready to take the leap into being a master of working with my passion. Or I'm ready to take a leap into authentically connecting with the love of my life. However that presents for you. Okay. But there's a sense here as well for some of you with the King of Wands coming in at the end and you starting with the Page. I think for some of you, you feel naive. You feel like you're not, like, I can't show this part of myself yet. This would be like writing a book and being like, no, I've edited it 12,000 times and but if I go out there and I start talking, people are going to see that maybe I'm not the best writer or that this is the first time I've done this or, whatever it is, fill in the blank. And yet this is saying it's time to leap into a level of awareness that you have leveled up. You've been doing something long enough. It started as an inspiration, started as this one wand, and you did, and you went forward with this curiosity and this naivete. But now there's a level of mastery involved. And it's time to embrace that. It's time to embrace the kingly aspect of that. Instead of looking at yourself maybe from this smaller perspective, it's time to step up and take responsibility for having mastered something. Okay. Oh, interesting. So for your final card, we have divine talents. Yeah, there is something here. You have mastered something. You might have mastered a talent here. So we have number 39, which breaks down to the number 12 in numerology, further breaking down to the number 3. But the number 12 to me is the number of God. There is a divinity to it, and especially breaking down to the number 3, there is further divinity, but it also speaks to our ability to create, to true, just divine creativity. Also, it speaks to being seen and greeting life with the innocence of a child. So all beautiful messages coming through the numbers there. So I'm going to read the excerpt that comes in the book with this as a final message. So it says divine talents. It says, you are a talented soul. Over many lifetimes, you have developed your spiritual abilities to channel higher awareness, attract healing energy, and radiate light to uplift the consciousness of those around you. Your divine talents are many and uniquely expressed through you. Your talents do not have to resemble those of another to have their own inestimable value. Do not be afraid to use them. Yes, there's that sense here coming through of being afraid to show what you're good at. And it says, divine talents are a way in which the universe reminds us of what we are here to do. Divine talents are unlimited. They include the ability to channel spiritual guidance and healing energy, to perceive clairvoyantly and be psychic and empathic. Other spiritual talents are the ability to release earthbound spirits, earth healing techniques such as working with energy grids, as well as healing ability with crystals and the many and varied technologies of light. There are other spiritual talents too. These include writing, performing, sound healing, dancing to awaken awareness, creating art, photography, or divine-inspired tools and jewelry. Cooking food that heals body and spirit is a spiritual talent, as are the abilities to bring people together, to offer comforting and inspiring words at the right time, to help others overcome fear and feel more at peace in the moments of importance, and more. You could use your divine talents in your career as a healer, in your work in the corporate world, or in your stay-at-home role as a parent, helping to raise more conscious, secure, and empowered children in a world that is in desperate need of strong, spiritually grounded leaders for the future. You can use your talents to create a vocation that truly inspires you and brings your light to the world. You can use them in the line at the grocery store. The point is that you use them. This oracle comes to you with a message. You have spiritual talents, some of which have been developed in other lifetimes and will simply and suddenly spring back to life, as if from out of the blue this lifetime. Others need a little more attention, patience, and effort to be brought to life in the world. This is particularly the case for you at this time if you have also drawn or are attracted to read the message now, the oracle of past life activation. Sometimes there's fear in sharing talents. You may have a subconscious or a very conscious past life recollection that involved shame, isolation, ridicule, fear, or even torture or death as a response to your sharing your talents for healing and helping others. Maybe you fear your spiritual talent will not allow you to meet your material needs, or that others will reject or deny your talent, even if you know it to be authentic and helpful. Or perhaps you need to acknowledge your talents yourself. Believe in yourself and your abilities and your capacity to use those talents in a constructive, healing way. Keep developing your talents until your own unique expression comes to life. Don't give up in the early and possibly awkward stages, dismissing your abilities as less than those of another. Trust that there is something very real and worthwhile in you. Do not dismiss or diminish your potential. Treat yourself as an investment worthy of development. Give yourself a chance. Enough time, attention, and practice to discover what you are really capable of. The universe knows. Soon you shall too. Yeah, this is all about really leaning into what you're passionate about and getting over the fear that others aren't going to support you, that what your talents are not enough. There is a sense here of it's time to share, it's time to be seen, it's time to leap into being the King of Wands, where it's the King of Passion. He holds the staff of passion. And with the Two of Cups, that says connect from that place. Connect from that place of mastery. Connect from that place of leading from what you are passionate about, and that is where your talent lies. All right, I will leave it there, Aries. I hope you all have a wonderfully illuminating month ahead. Get into what that divine talent is for you, or divine talents, and make that wish to connect that with others, and that is what will bring in that 10th cup for you. All right, if you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in my weekly reading. So for those of you who want additional readings throughout the month, each week I do post a collective reading along with a quick 10-minute energetic look for each sign at the energies for the week ahead. So if you'd like to do that, you can subscribe to my channel and be notified when those videos are released. And if I don't see you there, I will see you for next month's illumination reading for September. Bye, Aries.